Hello, America. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program and The Blaze and Zimmermania. I'm Stu Bergier, filling in for Glenn. Remember when we were a nation of laws, not men? Oh, those are the days. That was awesome. Of course, those days are long, long gone. Rule of law has given way to power and agenda. People either escape the rule of law because of their power, or they suffer unduly because they are on the wrong end of a political agenda. The George Zimmerman trial, it's wrapping up today. Closing arguments are taking place. And the judge today agreed to allow lesser charges to be applied, including manslaughter. And they even attempted to get third-degree murder in there based on child abuse because Martin was 17, but the judge denied that one. We'll get to the latest in the trial in just a second, but this is a trial that probably, I don't know, shouldn't really even be happening in the first place. Police, already investigated the crime and based on the evidence seemed to think that no charges should even be filed. But then an agenda and power came into play. We learned from ex-Sanford Police Chief Bill Lee today that he felt pressure from city officials to arrest Zimmerman in order to placate the public rather than as a matter of justice. Quote, "It was relayed to me that they just wanted an arrest. They didn't care if it got dismissed later." Oh, is that how our justice system works? Sounds less like American justice and more like this Monty Python scene.
Who do you know she is a witch? She looks like one.
Looks like one.
Bring her forward.
I'm not a witch, I'm not a witch.
But you are dressed as one.
They dressed me up like this. And this isn't my nose, it's a false one.
Well,
We did do the nose.
the nose?
And the hat. But she's a witch!
Just the nose and the hat. It's mob rule. It's intimidation. And fear dictate the course, rather than justice and law. An investigation into whether or not this was a justifiable homicide was already underway, but that wasn't happening fast enough for some. Instead of using the legal process in the case and justice, they were hijacked by race hucksters like Al Sharpton. Former Police Chief Lee said, quote, "The investigation was taken away from us. We weren't able to complete it." For example, the 911 tape in which a voice can be heard yelling for help in the background, that tape was evidence, and the police were not going to release it until the probe was over. Instead, the mayor of the town told the police chief on March 16th that the tapes had been released to Martin's family and the public. The media took it from there. MSNBC, of course, edited the 911 audio tapes to make Zimmerman look bad. And also, many referred to him as a white Hispanic, an effort to make racism part of the case. But the floodgates really opened up when the President of the United States decided to weigh in on this local crime issue. He said he didn't want to impair the investigation, so he had to be careful. And then, of course, he followed that up with this.
My main message is to the parents of Trayvon Martin. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
Would he? Really? Oops. Investigation officially impaired. He literally gives the entire country the image of the president's son being shot to death. Way to be careful there, sport. Celebrities started wearing hoodies, mimicking this picture featuring a clean-cut Trayvon that was widely distributed by the media. Well, that's a really clean-cut Trayvon. Oh, and that's actually a celebrity. I guess this picture, though, was never, ever, these are all the celebrity ones, this is the nice one that was getting thrown around in the media. What about the other ones, though? Were those pictures, like this one where he's smoking pot? That one wasn't used that often. And this one with a gun in his hand, that wasn't used that often either. I don't know if the president still views Trayvon as his son. I don't know why he would say that, but he did, and this is where we are. Clearly, this administration values agenda over the rule of law. Look at the times they step in versus the times when they don't. The president refused to comment on the Gosnell case, the easiest possible case to be appalled by as a human being. It's the murder of babies here. And he refused to comment because it was an ongoing investigation. The Fort Hood shooting. First, he gave a shout out to a friend and then said, "We don't know all the answers yet, and I would caution against jumping to conclusions until we have all the facts." After the Boston Marathon bombing, he said we have to be careful not to jump to conclusions. You get that pattern, right? Then with Trayvon Martin, he looks like my son that I don't have. Then there was the police acted stupidly in Cambridge. In Benghazi, it was a YouTube video. And when 2 soldiers in Afghanistan were murdered during protests after Quran burnings, which followed protocol and were not done with malice, the president apologized for the Quran burning, but did not demand an apology for the murder of 2 U.S. soldiers. It's all about agenda. Something makes abortion look bad, don't talk about it. Something makes Islam look bad, don't talk about that. Something promotes racial division, oh yeah, that's the one. That's the sweet spot, talk about it. The rule of law was working in Sanford, and this administration and its allies helped derail the process in order to further divide the country. When you look at the facts of this case, it's quite clear. There is not enough legally to convict this guy. That is why the prosecution is scrambling today to include whatever lesser charges. Jaywalking? Well, can we get jaywalking on this one? Anything you can get allowed by the judge. They were trying to include third-degree murder charges based on child abuse because to win a murder conviction, you have to show intent to kill, and to do so with depraved mind, hatred, malice, evil intent, or ill will. And the burden is on the prosecution to prove murder beyond a reasonable doubt. Zimmerman's broken nose, cuts, and witness testimony verifying Trayvon was on top and beating him up, for starters, clearly creates a lot more than a reasonable doubt. Look, the jury, who knows, right? Who knows what the jury will decide? Since more than half of this trial has already been tried in the court of public opinion by design. But based on the evidence, it would be a miscarriage of justice if Zimmerman is convicted. And I'm not celebrating that. I'm not on Team Zimmerman, not on Team Trayvon. All I care about is the rule of law and real justice. Not Al Sharpton justice, not mob justice. Unless you want America to become the land of Monty Python, start burning people at the stake just to satisfy an angry mob, the rule of law must trump agenda. The closing arguments are finishing up. Will justice be served? I'm not too confident, but we'll find out.